Hi, my name is Joseph, and today I want to discuss Season 21 from Destiny 2 Season of the Deep, which ran from May 23rd into August 22nd. So currently today is September 3rd, so this review is a little bit late, but I still wanted to post it up. We're barely going to start week 3 of the new season, Season 22, Season of the Witch, this coming Tuesday. So far, I just wanted to say that this is more than likely going to be my least enthusiastic Destiny 2 content. Just because while I did enjoy elements of Season of the Deep, I'm not going to lie, I felt like it wasn't necessarily a miss, but it certainly could have been tighter. So right off the bat, let's talk about the seasonal activities. So there was two with the last season, and a deep dive, and just the other one. What was it called? A deep dive and the just protecting some equipment, essentially repairing equipment as well. Both activities, I liked both of them. They were both enjoyable. My only complaint, and one has probably heard about this complaint from other parties, which is the enemy density. It was true. There just wasn't enough enemies for the fire team to interact with. Usually one or two guardians are able to wipe out the enemies on their own, leaving the other rest of the fire team with not much to do. Well, maybe 3 instead of 2 guardians. But the activity, the especially the bigger one that was 6-man teamed, that one definitely did need more variation and enemy density, just to really make up for the fact that it's a 6-man fire team. The same issue didn't really persist with the deep dives. It was more of a different issue. Sometimes the density was a bit of a factor, but as long as everyone, sometimes you'll get a fire team member. I personally don't play with a fire team. A set fire team I play with either random individuals or via the looking for group finder, the app. And more often than not, as long as everyone was pulling their weight, the density was not an issue. But if you had one guardian who wasn't pulling their weight, again, the density was an issue because the other two were able to mop up. But you had one who was like showing off or whatever. Sometimes there'll be not too many enemies to fight, but not as much as an issue as with the 6-man team. There was a different issue with the deep man dive, and that was just the fact that I appreciate Bungie trying to try different mechanics within the seasonal activity, but I think there could be a better way. For example, there was a mechanic in the deep dive where one wanted to increase the difficulty or the tier and thus get better loot. One needed to interact with an orb that essentially looked like Toland. Pretty cool idea. I think that's awesome. The only issue is that the whole fire team, all 3 members, needed to touch this orb. And sometimes, more often than not, 9 times out of 10, again, because I utilized either the matchmaking or the looking for group finder, the third fire team member would not touch the orb. I was guilty of this at the beginning, but once I heard about it, I did my best to start paying attention and looking around where a fire team member typically was not moving around, they're just standing still, and I'll go with them. Once I was more familiarized with it, I was one of the, I'll usually one other individual, sometimes just myself, I'll remind the other members to go get the orb, but almost always, 9 times out of 10, that third member just would not come no matter what. And pardon me, excuse me as well. Let me quickly take this down. This is meant for another type of video, but I'll go and just take it down right now just because why not? Live action at play. And Destiny 2 is a live service game, so. But besides that, the deep dive I think was more enjoyable than the, excuse me, I just can't remember the other seasonal activity. I should have looked that up, but pardon me. The 6-man activity. Thankfully, so far, it's looking like with Season of the Witch, those issues are not persisting. The density has been fixed, but there is a different issue with the altar, the summoning altars with the new season, but that's for a different video. When it comes to the story itself, I'm not going to lie, I was really looking forward for Titan to return. I did play Destiny 2 a little bit when it was made available for free on PS Plus, before it was made free to play. I did get pretty far. I did get to Titan. I think I got to Nessus actually before I stopped playing, unfortunately, because I wasn't playing with anyone. I was playing solo, and I did appreciate and enjoy Titan. I actually really enjoyed the spooky atmosphere that it had, and I was looking forward to it coming back just because I never really had the chance to actually explore and play with it. With that being said, the excitement of it returning quickly diminished or dwindled just because, again, the 6-man activity, there was not enough density. And the deep dive, going into the methane waters was really cool. I don't believe one was exploring old parts of the of Titan, or maybe I'm wrong about that. Again, I didn't really play Beyond Light, but it wasn't the interior or the structure of the arc dome or arc, whatever that they're called. I would have much more preferred more exploration. But I did appreciate Titan's return. I'm not going to look forward to when it does disappear again, like with the Leviathan. But with that being said, the setting I did mostly enjoy, but the story I was expecting a little bit more, especially with the introduction of Asha, a supposed prototype hive worm, supposedly, or at least her own species. We didn't really get much with her. I'm curious as to how she got to Titan. I guess she's kind of like the Leviathans from Mass Effect. I think they could just travel through space, even though they're mostly aquatic. They could live anywhere, essentially, I believe. The best cutscene was definitely a cutscene I think that should have been included in Lightfall, not in a seasonal story. And I do feel like since it was included in the seasonal story, that we were stolen from another cutscene that could have been specifically geared towards a Season of the Deep. I do wish we discovered more about the Witness. I've probably said when we got his whole history, or rather, maybe not more. Okay, when I say discover more about the Witness, I mean about his mechanics and its systems, like the disciples and everything like that. Getting his history, his origin story was really great, but again, I think that would have been better suited for Lightfall rather than Season of the Deep. I was expecting, again, how the Witness was operating rather than the Witness's history. So yeah, would I recommend Season of the Deep? To be honest with everyone, unless one has the season pass, I really wouldn't. But I think one can't buy that pass anyways anymore. But it's not that it was bad. It was just that, again, if one was not invested in the story or in the gameplay, there just wasn't too much for one to hook on to, unfortunately. The location was awesome to go back to. But all in all, I just felt like the story just could have been a bit better. It sounds like I'm not hating on Season of the Deep. I'm just much more neutral about it. If I had to give it a rating itself, I'll probably give it a 7 or even a 6.9 out of 10. And again, it's just because there wasn't enough enemy density. I felt like the story was just a bit too superficial because there was elements that should have been included in Lightfall. And yeah, so far Season of the Witch is looking like it's a bit better. It's pushing the narration forward rather than making it feel like we're catching up to catching up to understand what's going on. And yes, I'm looking forward to that. But again, that's for another video. So thanks for listening. I really do appreciate it. If you are playing Destiny 2, what was your opinion of Season of the Deep? I'm personally still collecting red border weapons. Unfortunately, I still need the shotgun, the sword, and the sniper. With the sniper, I only need 2 more though. Same thing with the... Actually, no, the sniper, I need 2 more. The sword, I need 1 more. And it's the shotgun that I need the most. I need 4 more. So hopefully I'll be able to get all of that before the end of the... before the release of Final Shape itself. Thanks for watching and listening. I really do appreciate it. Take care and have a good day. Hi everyone, so I'm adding this after the video has ended. I actually totally forgot to mention Sloan. That was not on purpose because I actually did enjoy Sloan's character. But I think this is a really good example of going back to what I said in the original part, the main part of the video. How Season of the Deep didn't really progress the story forward, but rather kind of just added an explanation to what came previously. I feel like the Witness's cutscene had come in during the Lightfall expansion. The cutscene we would have gotten instead would have focused much more instead on Sloan and Asha. By the end of the season's story, it seems like it seems like Sloan is fine, but it's implied and hinted through the cutscenes, the story itself, and through the missions itself and the lore, that Sloan is hearing Savathun's voice, or at least a voice from the darkness. Maybe it's the Witness, maybe it's not. I doubt that it is. But essentially because she's taken, or part of her is taken, her arm. I'm not gonna lie, I did think that was going to play a bigger part in the story, in the seasonal story. Especially because it looked like Asha was partially taken as well. Everyone looked at her character model, they'll notice there'll be like little taken blemishes here and there. I thought for sure there will be more coming for that, but maybe I'm just being impatient. Maybe that will come in the future. Bungie's just setting up the pieces for right now because, again, as I jokingly said in the main part of the video, it being Destiny 2, it is a live service game after all, right? So, but again, yeah, despite me enjoying Sloan's character, me forgetting to mention her in the story during the main video, it was not on purpose. I think that just attests to why I believe that if I were to give Season of the Deep a score, it would be about a 7 out of 10. Just because, again, although it did do a good job of filling up holes from the past host setup from previous mentioned story elements, I think Season of the Deep would have been better if it progressed the story rather than filling up those holes. Again, I do have more positive feelings towards Season of the Witch. Hopefully that continues. I'm not going to lie, I did have positive feelings towards the Deep at the beginning, but soon after week 2, those feelings quickly started changing. Isn't that really the same with Season of the Witch? It's doing enough to progress the story forward, especially with the inclusion of Imaru. Excuse me, again, that's for a different video, excuse me. But yeah, so I just wanted to quickly include this part because I did feel like discussing Sloane was necessary, even if I did forget to mention her. It was not on purpose, but I am happy to see that she's back, but I am hoping that more will be done with her character, especially since she really seems to be struggling with trauma. It really looked like something bad was going to happen because when she first came, she kept repeating the mantra, I get the mission done, the mission needs to be finished, the mission needs to be completed. I'm paraphrasing, but some variation of that she kept repeating. As the season of story kept moving forward, though, she slowly stopped repeating that mantra, so maybe it wasn't as much of an issue as myself and the community had thought it was. But yeah, thanks for your patience. I do appreciate it. Have a good day and take care.